So, like I said, eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to post this online. And if you missed a step today, for example, you can go back and review the video in our Georgia View account. But if you're here, as you should be, if you've got any pages open, go ahead and close them. That's just extra clutter. And you close them by using the little tabs that indicate the various pages that are open. But what we're going to do is create the home page for the 3710 folder first. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to use Dreamweaver's built-in template pages in order to get started on that. So all you need to do is go to File, New. Blank page, page type is HTML, but over here Layout, where we've used none before, instead find the HTML5 2-column fixed right sidebar header, etc. This one right here in the third column. So HTML5 : 2-column fixed right sidebar header, etc., etc., etc. The layout CSS over here by default should say create new file. If it doesn't, please change that to create new file, because that's what we want it to do. And once you've got this, just click create. The first thing Dreamweaver asks is, okay, you've told me you want to create a new CSS file to control this page. What do you want to call that file, and where do you want to put it? And we're going to call it home.css, and we're going to put it in this 3710 folder. So home.css goes in the 3710 folder. So we stop right there with 3710 selected and put this file right next to the subfolders by clicking Save. Hadi? Do you have a flash drive with you too? Okay, ask that question again. Okay, so you open this. So you go File, New. That's all. Okay, instead of add to head, you want to create a new file. Just here, create. And it's home.css. Okay. All right, so what you see on screen now is the HTML file that Dreamweaver generated for us. And what we see over in the Files panel is home.css. That's the cascading style sheet file that controls this new HTML file. So of course, the first thing that we should do is save the HTML file. So before we even do that, of course, the most important piece of information in any web page is the title. So let's change the title immediately to your name, CMS 3710 Home. That actually happens to be a good heading for this particular file as well. So I'm just going to copy that, and rather than instructions in the template, I'm going to add those same words as the topmost little heading for the document. So now I have a better title and a better heading, given what this document is eventually going to be. Honey, give me 1 second. After you've got those two changes made, just simply go to File, Save. And again, every home page is going to be called index.html. So we're going to call this index.html. We're going to put it in the 3710 folder. So it's going to end up right next to home.css.
Are we about to save it again if we put our name in the title?
Yeah. So index.html in the 3710 folder, save. All right, and then, of course, if you need to edit this or make any changes, you can do that. And then just go File, Save. You know, it's just like a Microsoft Word document after that. So now you've got two files, two new files, index.html, home.css. Both of them are in the 3710 folder, as they should be. Okay, instead of the, I guess that's not going to but let's do this. Just type your last name in there. index.html, and then it goes right there. Name it index.html. So instead of there, let's put it here. Let's put it on desktop.
I'm trying to delete these two because they don't even let me save it. And it was talking about administrator name and password.
Yeah.
Delete those two files on my drive.
Well, this we can probably delete. That may give you some space, but I'm not going to be able to get in and delete that right now. Okay, so what we now have is one of the 4 home pages that are Project 1. One of the 4 home pages that will allow people to get quickly to the various stuff that you're creating for this class. So now we just need to continue editing this template to make it more our own. And one of the first things that we can do is change these links up here to what they will be eventually. Experiments. So home, experiments, quizzes, and website analysis. So you know these links look more like buttons, but in fact all of that is done using cascading style sheets. You're in split view, but you just go inside and you can see it. If you want to preview this real quickly, you can see more what it's going to look like when somebody opens it in, say, Safari. Right. So right now these are links, but they don't go anywhere because we haven't told them where they're supposed to go yet. But we are on our way. We've got a good title, we've got a good heading, we've got the names of the links set. So again, this is a template. It comes filled, stuffed with all sorts of tips and other kinds of placeholder text. But what we need to do next is just simply get rid of all of this. We're going to end up with a lot of empty sections when we're done, but that's okay. So let's just delete a lot of this placeholder text. I'll be right there, Greg. Right, so I get rid of that. Okay, we just end up with those 4 sections, and then we can delete this extra text as well. The footer, we might as well go ahead and add some of that who, what, where information into the footer where is appropriate. So CMS 3710 and March 11th, 2013 are necessary pieces of your page, so let's go ahead and add them now. No, it's, okay, it's not a link right now, so we just need to make it. See, it's Dreamweaver, the cascading style sheet uses the A tag to make these look green and clickable. So if it's not an A tag, then the style sheet doesn't have anything to hook into. The short version is they're links now, so they are formatted like links should be.
Oh yeah, do we put the pound?
It's just a placeholder. We're gonna make that a real link in just a few minutes.
Oh.
Okay, same problem. Okay. Yes. Let's type Townsend. Shift 3. And again, this is just creating a fake link for now, so that the style sheet will kick in. Click off that to accept the change.
What about the down here at the bottom thing?
Yeah, you can ignore that for now. That's just fine. Okay.
How to, it won't, oh, never mind. I think I know what I need now.
Okay. When you look on the project one directions, those points that I was telling you about, one of the things that you'll see is that every page needs to include one or two sentence description of its function. Sentences describing this page. So just a little note to yourself would be a good idea. So add 1 to 2 sentences describing this page. Go ahead and type that into this document now. One of the things that I see when I do that is that it's showing up black and bold, which should clue me in to the fact that this text, which functions as a paragraph in this document, isn't marked up correctly right now. So with the cursor in that line, I can check the format down here and see that right now it's marked up as a second level heading. So if you've got this black and bold look to your document, you simply need to change the format to a paragraph, which is appropriate to what this text functions as within the document as a whole. Okay, so we've now got this much more ready to serve its function in our class. And what we're about to do now is clone this page 3 times in order to create 3 new home pages. Home pages for the subfolders: quizzes, experiments, and analysis. When I say clone, I just mean use the save as function that you've used 100 times in Microsoft Word or other things like that. And the reason that we do that is that if we use save as to create the other home pages, then when we're done, all 4 of the HTML pages will all use the same style sheet. So if we use save as to create home pages in analysis, in experiments, and in quizzes folders, then all 3 of those new HTML files will all use home.css to style them. Why would we want to do that?
It makes it easier when it's time for you to, like, if you want to change the layer or everything, it will change everything instead of having separate style sheets.
Exactly right. Right. So once all of these HTML files are all controlled by the same cascading style sheet, if we make a change to that style sheet, then all 4 of the pages will change as a result. So we can change one file, and the entire site, in this case just a 4-page site, changes as a result. Okay, so like I said, I call it cloning. You could also just call it save as. And each of these home pages is going to be called index.html because the server knows that a file with that name is the home page for the folder. So we just go to File, Save As. I'm going to put a file called index.html in the analysis folder. Click Save. Yes, we want to update links. But now that we've got a new file, let's go ahead and change the title and heading so we don't confuse ourselves. Web Site Analysis is this page's function. I'm going to get rid of that since I've got it elsewhere on the page anyway. All right. So I started with the home page. I used File, Save As, and I put a copy of index.html into the analysis folder, and then I changed its title up here and its heading down here to words that are more appropriate for this particular home page. You also notice that in the Files panel, that page is now showing up. So now I've got the original home page we created, and we've also got the Save As version inside the analysis folder, also called index.html.
When we say that as the website analysis, do we need to erase CMS 3710?
I did because it was wrapping and I didn't like the way that the wrap looked, and but more importantly because I've already got CMS 3710 in here, right? So that information's in the page down here, so it doesn't also need to be in the heading.
I think I'm going to save it when I just get back to it.
Okay.
The way it looks there. I'm not sure what it is. I saved something wrong, but when he did it, it said it asked me for the update links, and I said no.
Okay. So let's close that. I'm not sure why this is called MX.
No, this typo.
I'm not sure where it is either.
I thought I did it there.
Call this INDEX. Okay. Put it right there. I'm not sure. Dear Brandon Johnson, right?
I think I missed the save point.
Okay, so that is that file. So let's close these. Very sure. Index of HTML. Okay. Now these files save as, and make a copy of this into the analysis folder.
Was you supposed to say this after the first one, baby? Because I saved it. When I went to look at this homepage in 3720, that's what came up. So that's when I saved the first because it was up there at the time. Was we supposed to save that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. This is fine. It's in the 3710 folder.
Yeah, but wasn't it supposed to be 3710 homepage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and that, but this still is. Should we just copy that? And then paste it.
And I gotta recreate the links, right?
All right, so now I've got a second home page for the analysis. I made some changes to it, so I'm going to click Save. But now I can close that. So this is still... I've got a home page in the analysis folder. I've got a home page in the 3710 folder. And that's the one that I'm going to clone yet again.
The one in the 3710 file?
File, save as. This one I'm going to put in the experiments folder. It too will be called index.html. I do want to update the links. Now I change the wording. In both the title and the heading.
So can you do 3710? It's on the last one to go.
Yeah. You may do either. CMS 3710 needs to be in this document somewhere, but it is already, both in the title and in the footer. So this isn't strictly necessary. Now I can go to File, Save. This new home page now appears in the Experiments folder in the Files panel. It's right there, along with all the other stuff that I've created in Experiments already. Once I'm done with that one, I can close it. And do the same thing again. File, Save As. This last one's going to go in the quizzes folder. It's going to be called index.html. I change the title and the heading. And when I'm done, I have 4 index.html files, each of which is in one of the 4 folders that are my website. As it should, right? With a couple changes. So this one, let's just save this. First analysis, close everything, and then so you're starting with this one, right? We've got one in the
I did that too, but it was can't get the save it.
So let's reopen this. And use file save as. So in the experiments folders. Yes. And just change this word home in both places to experiments. You do the same thing with quizzes. Okay. Okay, so when I'm done, I've got a brand new file in the analysis folder, which used to be empty, and it's called index.html. It's the home page for the analysis. I've got a new file in the experiments folder here, along with all the other stuff that was already there. It too is called index.html, which tells the server that this is the page that most people will be starting with within this particular subsection of my site. So everything in the experiments folder has a starting point, and that starting point is index.html. The quizzes, the same thing. And then I've also got a home page for the global course as a whole, and the appropriate place to put that home page is in the 3710 folder itself, so that when all the subfolders are closed, you should still see both home.css, but also the home page for 3710, which is called, as always, index.html. Yes?
Okay, I see all the stuff in my on the Finder, but over here I don't see it over here.
Yeah, I think that's just the name, because you don't have the actual user account. So everything's working properly.
Yeah.
The files panel's just not showing it to you.
Okay.
Well, we got all four of the homepage movie. I got all four of the homepages, but you was talking about how to but you was just saying a second.
I was just going through the fact that there are 4 home pages in the 4 places.
Okay.
Okay, so those of you who are at a computer that doesn't have it, Laura, you doing all right?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Those of you who are not at a computer that has a user account set up for you, or if you didn't bring your flash drive with you today, you might have difficulty with this last step, but it's actually a very straightforward step. So once you learn how to do it, it's very easy to accomplish. So just kind of watch carefully as we go through it. So this is the home page for our 3710 folder. And of course, all of the pages now have these 4 links in them. If it doesn't look green, if it doesn't look like a button on your computer right now, that just means that the link itself got deleted. The text is there, but it's not linked yet. So when you make that text clickable, when you make it a link, you'll get the green back. So the style sheet is looking for an A tag in here and to turn it green, and if it doesn't see the A tag, then the style doesn't hook into this particular piece. But these links right now are just placeholders. They're not linked to what they should open when somebody clicks on it. So what we're going to do now is create the links that will make these open appropriately. These are internal navigation links. So when somebody goes to your 3710 homepage, and they want to see what the kinds of experiments that you've done for this class, then they'll click on the experiments link, and what we want to open when they do that is the home page for your experiments, right? So in order to make that happen, double click in order to select that text. Then in the properties panel down here, find the little target that we've used before. If you drag out of that target, you'll get a little purple arrow. Then we need to point that arrow at the file we want to open when somebody clicks on that word experiments. And that is the file index.html. Okay. So one more time. If you want to create a navigational link, then select the text that you want to be clickable. Find the point to file tool. It's in the properties panel down here. Drag. You'll get that purple arrow. And point at the file you want to open when somebody clicks. Remember that you cannot open a folder. Right? So don't point at the folder called experiments. Instead, point at the file inside the experiments folder called index.html and release. And if you did that correctly, the Dreamweaver automatically created the link for you, and the text that you see down here should say experiment/index.html. You don't have to worry about what it says there. As long as it says that, or how it works, let Dreamweaver worry about how it works. But just as a test, if you did it correctly, what you should see down here is experiment/index.html.
You got to do that on all 4 web pages.
Exactly. Yes, on all of the links. Yeah. So again, it's a very simple process. So for quizzes, I grab that pointer. Now the quizzes folder is closed right now. I don't know if you can see that at your seat, but my quizzes folder is closed. But if I point the purple arrow at it and wait for a second, it'll open and reveal the file that I want to link to, which is index.html, in the quizzes folder. So I've done experiments, I've done quizzes, now I want to do website analysis. Grab the point to file tool, find the index.html file in the analysis folder, release. So home, well, let's not even worry about that right now. So to open each of the home pages within each of the subfolders, you need to point at the index.html file in each of these subfolders. And once you've done that, you've got working links. You will eventually need to do that on each of the home pages. But just to test what we've done so far, we can preview it. If I click on website analysis, I see it goes to this page. I have to hit return. If I click on quizzes, I go to the quizzes page. I hit return. Click experiments, I go to the experiments page. So getting to Greg's point a minute ago, each of these pages is a completely separate document, right? It looks like nothing's changed except this text in here, but that's simply because all the pages are identical. So these are actually different links on the experiments page than the links on the home page. So these we haven't created yet, or we haven't updated yet. So they don't do anything on the experiments page. We haven't made those links work yet. If we go back to the home page, though, we can see that the three links that we have updated do indeed work. Experiments back, quizzes back, website analysis back. And that's how you create navigational links that will make people feel as if they are always in the same site. And that's all that we have time for today, so we'll pick up here next class. If you were able to follow along and get everything done, then class is over, and I will see you on Wednesday. We've got a few minutes left. If you've got issues or problems, well, I'm here. One thing, that don't forget your flash drive, and please shut down the computers before you leave. Okay, I don't know who had their hand up first. So, Aaron?